Thanks so much for having me. I was really excited when your teacher came to talk to me in our athletic department about this new class. I wish that I had a course that I could take like this, and I'll already tell you that you guys have more training than I ever did when I was in either high school or college on this topic. So you're off to a great start. It's something that you guys really want to tap into for your future. So my name is Krista Balo. I'm Assistant Athletic Director. I oversee all the marketing, sponsorship, and special events for the athletic department up at UVM. We flip to the next slide. I'm going to give you guys a little bit about me. So I'm originally from New Jersey, and I graduated from high school back in 1998. This may be my maybe second time back in high school since then, so it was kind of cool to come through when so much was going on out in the hallways. I graduated from UVM in 2002. I majored in English, and I had a double minor in studio art and consumer business and advertising. The reason why I did that was because I had met with my advisor at the beginning of my junior year, and she said, you're going to have a lot of electives that you can take, which is pretty exciting when you get to college, because that's where you really get to tap into different things that you may have interest in and learn a little bit more about those different studies. So studio art was something that I thought, that could be cool, and I did a lot with photography. Took a lot of photography classes, so it was kind of neat to have my English major and then be able to do something else that I really enjoyed as a hobby and get credit for it. So something to think about as you guys start thinking a little bit more about what you're doing after high school. It's a nice option. I also got my master's in 2007 in public administration, and that's a great benefit of working for the University of Vermont. You get to take classes for free. So I quickly got my master's. Shouldn't say too quickly. I did it over a 3-year period where I'd work and take some classes and really take classes in the winter months and the summer months when things weren't as hectic during the fall and spring semester, and that added up pretty quickly. I'm a big Rebels fan. I'm from South Burlington. I've been living here for living in Vermont now since graduation, and living in South Burlington for the last 8 years. So looking forward to, as you can tell, I've got a little fun in the oven, as they say. It's a boy, so I'm sure at some point in time you guys will be 30 years old by then when he's here at South Burlington. So I think it's really great what you guys do. I love reading about you in the paper with what you're doing with sports and arts and your studies, and it's really impressive. So just wanted to add that in. Some of my interests, I really like yoga. I really love hanging out with my dog, Digsby. We do a lot of fun outdoor activities together, and I love spending time with my family and traveling whenever I can. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that piece of traveling with my job, which is pretty fun. And then teaching, I also teach an event planning for athletics course, and I've been doing that since 2008. So I have 3 different semesters. I have fall and spring semester, and then I have winter session that I teach a course. And I'm actually in the last process right now of getting a sport management minor housed at UVM. So for those of you who might be Catamounts in 2015 or 16 or 17, there's probably going to be a sport management minor that is going to be offered to students, which is really exciting and something that I'm really proud of working on with some of my colleagues. Okay. So how I got to where I am today, that's me as a swimmer for UVM. I swam there for all 4 years and had a wonderful experience. I had a summer internship the summer going into my senior year for Jones New York and Ralph Lauren. Very, very different, working in fashion. It was a lot of fun, but not something I necessarily wanted to do with my entire life. So after that internship, going into my senior year, I decided to get a little bit more experience with the athletic department. And again, being a student athlete, it kind of opened the doors a bit. We have a student athlete advisory council, and each sport program is represented on that, and I became a representative for the swim team and helped coordinate some events as well for our department. And just realized that was something that I really wanted to do when I graduated, and was actually offered a job back where I had interned in the summer in New York City, but I had to start right after graduation, and it wasn't something that I was really prepared or excited to do at that point. And I heard that the position was going to be opening as director of marketing, and I decided to wait it out, spent the summer in Burlington, and applied that August and got the job, and it's been fantastic ever since. So I really became not only involved as a student athlete, but I started my first year of work really seeking different opportunities. So the focus of the position had been just revenue generation. So trying to get corporate sponsors, so going to local businesses like Zachary's Pizza, Marco's Pizza, Sheridan Hotel, a lot of places that you guys probably go to on a somewhat regular basis to join our sponsorship team. And then I decided we need to do more than that. We need to make it about the game day experience. So back when Kyle was about 6 years old, when I knew him because I'm close with his mom, we worked together on our senior administrative team. He used to participate in various activities like, what did you do? Did you ever do like the tricycle race?
Yeah.
Ride the Zamboni? So we've had some good times. So the idea was to really come up with a comprehensive marketing and promotions plan for every single sport. So now if you come to any of our athletic events, there'll always be some kind of game and giveaway. And then I put down with a smile, taking our responsibilities with a smile, because I think that's really important and something that you guys should learn early on, is that a lot of opportunities come your way, and when you say yes and you have a smile on your face, even if it's not something you really want to do, it can open the door for something else, and that's something that I've been very fortunate with. There's no way that I'd be in my job for 14 years at this point, 13 years, if it wasn't something that I felt continued to challenge me and really give me opportunity to evolve professionally. 13 years is a long time, especially when you're in your early 30s. Okay? So my job responsibilities. I sell all sponsorships for the athletic department, so anytime you guys come into one of our venues and you see signage, that's a relationship that I've cultivated, again, with the promotional schedule, something that we've done. We'll use Leonardo's Pizza giveaway as an example. How can we tie corporate sponsorships into promotional giveaways and fan entertainment? The Kids Club, the Fan Rewards program, and birthday parties, all something I started years ago, and they've really developed, which is great. We obviously know the community that we live in, they're very close, so it's important to make sure that we do different things for different demographics. So the Kids Clubs and the birthday parties are really targeted to kids 12 and younger, and then the Fan Rewards program is for everyone, for students and for our regular families. Coordinating the game day promotions, I spoke a little bit about that again, making sure that we have something in every single class or every single game, some type of giveaway or some type of fan engagement opportunity. Marketing all sport program. You guys are really distracting. Do you have questions to ask or no? Okay. If you could pay attention, that would be awesome. If you have questions, like, please feel free at any point. I love questions. I don't want this to be, it would get really boring if I'm just lecturing you the entire time. So if you have questions, please feel free to ask. Marketing all sport programs is really important. I think, I'll ask this question. How many of you have been to a Vermont sporting event? And how many of you have been to something other than hockey or basketball? Okay, well, that's good to see. So there are a lot of sports that we host, like swimming, women's lacrosse, field hockey, that don't necessarily get as much PR around their programs. And it's really nothing against those programs. They're very successful, but our fans just seemed really more engaged in basketball and hockey. And I think part of that really is that it's been the tradition for years, especially with hockey. It's really Vermont's sport, and then basketball, as many of you know, they've had great success over the last couple of years going to the NCAA tournament. So being a former swimmer myself and now being on the senior administrative team, it's important for me to make sure that all of our teams are feeling like they're equally promoted. So that's something that we do a lot more of now, and I have some examples, and throughout this presentation I'll show you some things, but every team gets a sport poster. So every season we have some type of promotional poster that will be distributed to different places in town. And I'll just pass this around. You can go down the line. We also have sports schedule cards, and I brought plenty for you guys to all take one, so I'll pass these around as well if you want to take one. And all the sports are recognized there.
So this is just an example of all the many promotional materials. So at any
Yes.
given event or game, these might all or some be available.
Yep,
So
exactly.
this is good, especially as we're thinking about different things you might want to work with. Remember, promotional materials can be, not only hats, shirts, but you can be pretty creative, pretty funky. So, we've used a lot of the bracelets before, like the, for Bert and whatnot, we use those rubber bracelets. Those can be cheaply made, but then accessible. So if there's ones that you see, don't forget, jot down notes. Sorry.
No, please. And just going on that too, I mean, we try to promote, I'm gonna talk a little bit more about this in a few minutes, but there's also different examples of different mediums that we use. So print, advertising, radio, TV, social media. So this is just an example of a print, and these movie guys that you guys have probably seen in the mail. We have a nice spread in here, so I'll pass that around. Another responsibility, overseeing all the spirit groups. So we have a pep band, a dance team, cheerleaders, and new this year we have a figure skating team called the Ice Cats. So they're going to be coming out before the hockey games and adding some pageantry to the starting lineups, which will be cool. And then Rally Catamount, our mascot, that would be me with my husband and a good friend in Rally. I'm sure most of you guys know who he is, and it's really important that we get Rally out in the community as often as possible. So you may see him at, not necessarily our sporting events, but you might see him at another charity event, or even down on Church Street handing tickets out just to get our brand out there more. More responsibilities, special events. That's a picture of me and my dad with the Stanley Cup. I was fortunate enough to plan the Stanley Cup parade for Tim Thomas and Paul Goodman, who was the strength and conditioning coach for the Chicago Blackhawks a couple of years ago, and that was at Tim Thomas's party. So that was pretty fun. I brought my dad as my date to the party. But special events, we plan over 25 a year. And some of those include alumni games. They include our Rally Awards, which is our end of the year celebration. We just had a men's hockey 50th anniversary celebration last year, as well as a men's soccer 50th. So the idea of having these special events is really to, again, engage not only our local community, but our national community. So alumni, donors, and other folks that are really a part of what we're trying to do here as the University of Vermont Athletic Department. Catamount TV.
Everyone knows what the Stanley Cup is, right?
Oh, sorry.
Is there,
Do you guys know what the Stanley Cup is? So it's the major, yeah, thank you, NHL championship trophy. So it's a big deal. It was pretty cool. Did anyone go to the parade? Either parade there was on Church Street? No? Okay. Thought maybe by chance. Who knows what Catamount TV is? I'm sure this was covered the other day. Someone want to say what it is?
Oh, it's where you live stream your sporting events.
Yep, live streaming of all sporting events, and they also do special features. So that's something that I work with Alistair on, and also with Pete Usties and Nick Hall, who are great coworkers of mine, and we do a lot of special features around special events, and there's a nice tie in there. UVMathletics.com, that's our website. The Victory Club's our annual fund, so that's where we're asking different donors for donations, and in return they might get some type of benefit. So to join the Victory Club, I'll give you guys an example. If you give at the $1,000 level, you get access to VIP hospitality. You give another $500, you get access to VIP parking at hockey and basketball games. So the idea is to really give benefits back to people who donate to our department. And the idea of the Victory Club is really for scholarships. So all the money that's donated goes into the scholarship fund. And I'm going to throw something else that's a little bit interesting, just again for any of you interested in getting into athletic administration. There are 3 major revenue streams to an athletic department: ticketing, sponsorship, sales, and donations to the annual fund. In other athletic departments, not University of Vermont Athletic Department, but in others, larger ones, Boston College is a great example, they have TV rights. So the media rights are also coming in, and that's another revenue stream that may be helping the athletics department work. We also have concession stands, which some schools' percentage of sales go to that, and then we also have merchandise sales, so the bookstore, which again, our department's a little bit different, but a lot do function of that. So that ties into ticket operations. That's something, we have a marketing ticket meeting twice a week that I chair, and we talk about how we can increase revenue through that revenue stream. Communications and media, and I'll also talk to you guys a lot about that, but there's obviously a tie-in from marketing and promotions to communication and public relations. Licensing, I have a tie-in with that, so I work with the bookstore, and Adidas is our official outfitter. So if you guys notice on the posters and other things that go around, you're always going to see that our athletes are in Adidas, unless we're talking about hockey, because they are Reebok, and Adidas owns Reebok. So that's something that is kind of cool, that we have a larger partnership with an apparel company that we work with consistently. My staff is awesome, and I say you have to be a team player to be successful, because as I'm sure you guys are hearing me speak, it's a lot of responsibility that I have, but I also have two fabulous coworkers that report to me, our fan engagement coordinator and our promotions coordinator. So we have a lot of fun together, and then we have people in other units like Alistair that you met to help support a lot of these efforts. Senior administration, that's another part of my pretty large responsibility that I have. So there are 5 athletic directors. We have our head athletic director, and then we have our 4 assistants. So each of us oversee at least 2 sport programs. I right now supervise swimming and diving and women's lacrosse. And being on senior administration means that you're part of policy and planning committee, and you're making some pretty tough budgetary decisions. You're really setting up the rules and expectations for the entire staff, and it's been something that I really enjoyed. And then committee membership, I'm on a bunch of committees, which is fun, both nationally and just within our athletic department, just to help me grow professionally. So what I love about my job, the people that I work with are just fantastic. They've been, UVM is just a really nice community to work in, and a lot of people have the same passion that I do just about our sport programs. I mean, really, when you think about it, you're working with student athletes, so that's pretty fun, right? It's not the same thing every single day, and things are constantly evolving, and it's a different part of my job that I get to explore every day. I love to travel. This is a picture of me in Buffalo with the men's basketball team when we went for the NCAA tournament, eating one of their famous buffalo wings. And I love the postseason time. So March, when we're traveling more, especially with hockey and basketball, it's really great because you get to meet a lot of alumni and fun people that you may not otherwise meet. And you get to see some really cool venues. So I've gotten to go to, all over from Arizona to Utah to even just to Boston to New York City to Buffalo, which has been really fun, Washington, D.C. So it's always fun when our teams are doing well because I get to have some fun too. Okay. Most challenging aspects of my job, just time. A lot of times I feel like there are not enough hours in the day. I do feel like I'm busy most of the time. This is not an industry that you guys want to get into if you want to have nights and weekends off all the time, because basically this calendar of events that we get in early September really tells you what your next 7 months is going to look like. So you're at most athletic events, and if you have a great team like I do, you don't have to be there from start to finish. But when you're starting out, you do have to be there like 2 hours before the game starts, and then you're there an hour after the game, and there goes your entire Saturday afternoon. So sometimes the timing can be tough. The resources, I think anyone in college athletics would tell you that unless you're Alabama football or another really large school, that resources are always tough. Because everyone's always looking to gain more in their budget. So some budgetary concerns may be your operating budget, meaning how much money does a coach have to go out and use for recruiting purposes. Another example could be how much can we have on the road to spend for team meals. Making sure that every athlete gets a nutritious pregame and postgame meal is really important. So those are just some of the things that we're constantly working on as a department. And then expectations, I have pretty high expectations for myself and our staff, and we also have 20 student staff and interns that report to our promotions coordinator, and I expect everything to be really buttoned up and customer service to be an A+ from the time that people walk in. And that's really how I look at my job. The coaches, it's their job to make sure that their student athletes are living up to the expectations of our department and to do well on the playing field, and then it's up to me for our marketing staff to make sure that everyone has a great experience from start to finish. And that's our ski team won the national championships. They're another really big program for those of you that might be into skiing. So any questions so far? It's more about me. Now we're going to get into the nuts and bolts. No? How many of you think you want to get into marketing and promotions in college athletics? Is anyone really interested, or you might be? And you play lacrosse? Okay. Anyone else? A little bit? Okay. What do other people want to do? Does anyone have a real interest in anything? It doesn't have to be athletics related. Anyone want to be a doctor? Anyone want to be a bus driver? Do any of you guys have an idea of what you want to do? And it's fine that you don't. So I didn't either, even in college? No? Okay.
You guys
That's
are
good.
awfully quiet, but.
That's why you get to take an awesome class like this, so you can see what's out there. So planning an event or promotion is most important by starting off and creating a marketing plan. You absolutely need to have some type of marketing plan. And there's no way you can create a marketing plan without doing your homework. You've got to research whatever you're doing. So I'm gonna pick on a couple people. So for those of you who have been to a UVM athletic event, what type of promotions have you seen before? What stands out to you?
Can we actually just see, can you put your hand up if you've been to a UVM event? Just like really, so pretty much everyone. Well, almost everyone, okay. Now you can see who's
Yeah.
been, so. Promotional events, promotional materials.
What do you guys remember? I know at least two people in this room that know, because I see them all the time.
And even that
That's
picture that's UVM flag inside.
Sorry?
Even that picture that's UVM flag inside.
Yeah, that's a great example. So making sure that we have our brand, which is the UVM flag, out for every single game, and that's something consistent that we do. You can't actually see that Crowley's behind him. That's during the starting line. But what's going on in this picture? What's something really cool about this picture? This is when we were playing Boston College a couple years ago.
Student section.
Yes, they're all in our gold t-shirts, right? So we'll use this promotion as an example. So the way that this worked is I approached our student government association, and every college campus has a student government association. And I had said to them, we'd love to do a t-shirt giveaway for the Boston College game. Is it something you guys would be interested in supporting? And they were all about it. So I worked with them on getting these t-shirts. I knew that they had budget, so my research was I knew that they had budget. I knew that they were a sponsor that made sense because they are a student government association, so they want to give things to our student body and they want to show their support of our athletic programs and their own students. And then the design piece, we really worked together to collaborate on what the t-shirt design would look like and then also how we were going to execute the promotion. So who was going to be doing the giveaway, who was going to be having the conversations at the table about what was going to make this promotion work and who was going to get everyone to the game, which isn't always a problem for men's hockey, and that's how we have a successful promotion. This tradition kicked off, I'm pretty sure it was maybe it was more like 8 years ago now. And every single year, we have some type of major giveaway for the students. So, winter hat, this is what they did last year. And every student got a winter hat and they wore them in the student section. So that's pretty neat because you see these all over campus now. You get to keep that.
Sweet thing.
People who participate get little gifts up here. We've got some good ones, so you might want to type up. So again, part of creating this marketing plan is that you want to think about the situation. Where are we going and how did we get here? What was the thought process between wanting to have an actual promotional night? This one's not up for grabs because I actually need this, but I'm going to use this as a good example. Military Appreciation Night. So I was sitting in a marketing meeting a couple years ago, 2 years ago now, and learned all about UNH's Military Appreciation Night and their partnership with Operation Hat Trick. And what that means is they give a percentage of all sales on camo apparel back to this organization called Operation Hat Trick that helps military veterans. So I thought, how cool is this? You know, this is something that I'm sure our community would love. The Vermont Army National Guard and Air Guard are partners of ours. We also work with UVM ROTC, and I'm sure that they'd love to help us with Military Appreciation Week. So thought a lot about the situation there, had my target who was going to be a part of this initiative, and how are we going to get there from here? Well, we're going to work with UNH and learn about what they did, because that's what every great marketing person does. They share ideas. And we're going to think about how we can promote this to all military folks within our community. And it's really, when you have these promotional nights, you don't want to think about just those folks. You want to think about everyone else who's going to be hearing about Military Appreciation Night and thinking, wow, like that's great for the University of Vermont brand. You know, that the men's hockey team is going to be forming these partnerships and recognizing our military servicemen and women. So we came up with this jersey last year, and the guys wore this, and they had camo socks that they wore. It was for a game right before Thanksgiving. We had a bunch of military folks there, and we had a great pregame celebration on the ice. We did a nice presentation where General Craig came out and we presented him a jersey. Our coach was out there, our athletic director was out there. And again, we thought about our path. How are we going to engage people from when we're promoting the event in advance, so all the different mediums that we could promote the event, and then what can we do as soon as people walk in the door and what can we do through the end. So service people were participating in the in-between period promotions, and then afterwards we made sure that we did a nice follow-up to the Vermont VA and Veterans Association and gave them a nice donation because we actually did an online auction for these. So certain players were going, their jerseys went for $500 a piece, which is great. And we do something similar with Rally. Oh,
And the lunch. Well, that's not,
that's exciting.
yeah, not for us.
It's not exciting for them, I guess. So the idea is that that when we have these different types of promotions, that again, we're trying to incorporate as many people in the community as possible, and the student athletes really learn from it too, because they have a direct tie from where it's. Yeah. Great question. That's a great question. So this would be considered a sponsorship opportunity to me, right? So we have Military Appreciation Day sponsored by whomever. This is a shock to me that we have not found a sponsor for this night. So last year what we did is we paid, the athletic department paid for all the jerseys. Reebok gave us a discount, which was nice. And then we paid for the jerseys, and then we promoted all the auction sales as proceeds go to the Vermont VA rather than all proceeds. So we pulled out the cost of the jerseys to cover the cost. But that's a great question because also our Rally Against Cancer events that we have, we now have a presenting sponsor for that, Otter Creek Awning. So they're paying for all the jerseys for all the sports, which is really cool. That's a great question because that's part of this, creating a marketing plan. You've got to know your budget. I'm sorry I left that out. And that's a really important piece is because a lot of times I want to do things, but we don't have a budget for it. So we just can't do it. So this is a fun one, and it's coming up November 25th this year. So they're going to be, it's a different design jersey this year. Instead of being like the green camo, it's more of a tan design.
Do you guys remember seeing the footage with all the guys wearing that when Alistair was in here?
Oh, good.
Yeah, we
Okay,
saw
good.
a clip of that.
Awesome.
There's
Have you guys ever covered SWOT analysis? What exactly that is? Okay, so that's when you analyze your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats. So you really go through and think about the promotion. This is really in the planning process, but it can also be in the evaluation process where you sit down and you're with your team of people. I don't usually plan these things by myself because I believe in having more people at the table generates better ideas. So we'll talk about the strengths of the promotion, what the weaknesses may be, any opportunities that we have for engagement, and then any threats, so any risks that there may be associated with that we don't really want to take a chance on. Make sense?
And for those, the marketing packets you guys got now a week and a half ago, we haven't gone through the whole packet yet, but that, we actually break that down towards the end, so
Great.
we'll look at that.
Yeah.
Like, what has been your favorite, like, marketing campaign you've ever worked on in your, like, career?
That's another great question. I love the teddy bear toss. So that is when all of our fans are encouraged to bring a teddy bear to a men's hockey game, and it's great after Christmas. It's usually the Catamount Cup tournament, which is around like December 29th, 30th weekend. And all the fans in between second and third period throw bears on the ice. And the bookstore actually runs a promotion where they sell these $5 bears. And then we collect them all on the ice. And we have our men's and women's hockey team deliver them to the Children's Hospital and 2 nursing homes in town. And it's amazing to go with them and to see how it lights up people's worlds. I mean, especially, unfortunately, last year the hospital has some restrictions, like the flu's going on, or you know, in some cases it's actually great, like there are not a lot of people in the Children's Hospital. So we're there for 2 minutes and get to visit 2 children. But the nursing homes, it's amazing what this does to the spirit of the people that are in there. And they carry these bears around, and I'm hearing about it weeks later from the directors, and that's a pretty great one. So I'd have to say that's one of my favorite. And I started that right when I began, and we get over 400 bears every year. And that is a sponsorship with Vermont Teddy Bear Company. So there's a nice tie in there too, where they sponsor that game night. They throw a bunch of bears on the ice too. They do a raffle to win a bear, and those things aren't cheap if you guys have ever looked to buy one. They're like $75, which is crazy. But it's a really nice partnership. The continuous evaluation and debrief, this is something that's so important in any type of event planning or marketing that you guys partake in. So you want to make sure that you're always evaluating what you're doing and how things are going. And if you're like me, you want to make sure you're writing everything down. So I have like a debrief or evaluation Word document in all of my folders for different promotions and events. That really helps me kind of keep track of what's gone well, what hasn't. And then next year when I'm planning again with our team, I can go back and reference those notes. So you want to make sure that you're always evaluating.
Hence why you all put a link to a cloud storage and cloud organizational tool last week.
Yep, oh, sorry.
Do the teams change every year? You say you get assigned to teams?
Oh, for sports supervision? No, we just changed it like a month ago, but they usually stay for a couple of years. So I swam, so it makes sense for me to supervise swimming, and then another assistant AD, she played basketball, so now she's overseeing the women's basketball program. Our athletic director oversees men's hockey, men's basketball, men's lacrosse. They're three of our biggest programs, and especially with men's lacrosse right now, there's a real interest. Not to go off on too much of a tangent, but our conference, America East, has identified certain sports as sports of emphasis, and lacrosse is one of them. So that means that they're trying to put more resources into it. We want to have the maximum amount of scholarships that we can have with them, which is 12, because the NCAA rules. That's another part of this, is that you want to stay compliant with the rules, but it's really important that they have kind of direction. That's work. While I just mentioned NCAA, I didn't actually put this in my presentation, but this is so important. If you guys work on a college athletic campus, it's completely different than if you work for a pro organization or for semi-pro. I see your Glades hat, like if you went to an AHL team or an East Coast Hockey League team, even a junior program outside of the state, the rules are a little bit different than when you're in college. The NCAA has a lot of rules about what you can and can't do. So, men's hockey, for example, they can't just keep their jersey. I can't work with our captain, Mike Paleotta, and say, the Windjammer just signed on for their sponsorship. Can you go over there and get the salad boat and a burger and thank them for being? There are very strict rules of how we need to separate what the student athletes can and can't do from what the marketing sponsorship is. So another great example, I learned this my first year of work. You can't identify a high school group within a crowd to win a prize. So if you were at a women's basketball game and we had the pizza giveaway, and you guys were, say the women's basketball team was up in the stands with their Rebels t-shirt on or jersey on, cheering everyone on, I can't say, oh, that looks awesome that they're all here, like we should give them the giveaway, because you're technically at a recruitable age, and the NCAA looks at that as an added benefit. So for any of you that play sports, who plays sports? Okay. Almost everyone? Everyone? Oh my goodness, you too? You too?
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
What we got?
That's awesome. So you guys might be, you could be recruited, or you might go on a recruiting trip, and you'll know all the